I'm Zahir, Kelvin Abdullah, and this is Nightline. The top stories. Government procurement bill, a bold move to end leakages, strengthen accountability, says PM. And Segamat again struck by minor earthquake, second tremor in 4 days. Good morning. The Government Procurement Bill 2025 is seen as a bold move to end financial leakages and strengthen accountability in government spending. Prime Minister Datuk Sri Anwar Ibrahim said the bill, which removes unchecked ministerial powers in awarding contract projects and introduces transparent tender processes, was proof of the government's commitment to reforming procurement practices. Anwar, who is also the Finance Minister, tabled the bill for its second reading in the Dewan Rakyat on Wednesday. He highlighted that the bill seeks to place ministers and those in authority under proper scrutiny by removing legal protection in cases of negligence in managing procurement.
Tak banyak kerajaan yang sanggup melepaskan tanggungjawab dia daripada outright grant atau outright through apa yang disebut negotiated proses, rundingan terus itu dengan digantikan dengan proses tender.
Anwar added that the bill, which comprises 93 clauses across 12 parts, is not limited to the federal government. It also applies to state governments, local authorities, statutory bodies, government-linked companies, and any entity receiving government grants or loans. The bill outlines clear offences, including awarding contracts without approval, failing to declare interest, interfering in procurement processes, and falsifying documents. Those found guilty, whether ministers, civil servants, or contractors, may face fines or imprisonment.
Ini denda tidak kurang 3 kali ganda nilai pemberian atau kontrak perolehan kerajaan atau RM1 juta yang mana lebih tinggi atau dipenjarakan selama tempoh tidak melebihi 5 tahun atau kedua-duanya.
The bill also includes exemptions for matters involving security, confidentiality related to intelligence procurement, and national security. At a separate event in the capital, Anwar announced that ASEAN and China have concluded negotiations for the ASEAN-China Free Trade Agreement, ACFTA 3.0. The Prime Minister, who also serves as ASEAN Chair, confirmed that the updated agreement will be presented at the Bloc Summit in October.
It now embraces the digital economy, green growth, supply chain connectivity, technical standards, and support for small and medium-sized enterprises. It reflects the new realities of our time, that prosperity today is shaped not only by fair trade, but also by data flows, by digital platforms, and by sustainable energy transitions.
Speaking at the BOAO Forum for Asia's Asia-Pacific Regional Cooperation Roundtable in Kuala Lumpur, Anwar said ASEAN-China cooperation has been shaped by current economic developments. Anwar also announced Malaysia's intention to convene the Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership RCEP Summit in October in conjunction with the 47th ASEAN Summit.
The Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership remains the largest free trade area in the world, covering 30% of the global GDP. But RCEP must not remain a legal text of paper. It must be renewed with political energy.
RCEP is a free trade agreement involving ASEAN along with China, Japan, South Korea, Australia and New Zealand. Malaysia officially joined the RCEP on March 18, 2022. Malaysia and Brunei have agreed to complete the demarcation of the FG sector of their shared land border by May 31st, 2027, concluding more than a decade of joint talks. The demarcation and survey works are scheduled to be completed by May 2027 based on the watershed principle. The agreement was reached during the 26th Malaysia-Brunei Annual Leaders Consultation between Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim and Sultan Hassan al-Bolkiah in Putrajaya on Wednesday. In a joint statement, both leaders reaffirmed their shared commitment to resolving the sector FG issue, stressing that it will remain a priority until it is fully settled. To date, joint demarcation works have covered more than 214 kilometres, or 41% of the entire land border. Beyond land border matters, the two leaders also underlined the importance of maritime cooperation. This includes access to waters and the fisheries sector, with an agreement to establish a joint ad hoc committee. Earlier, Anwar and Sultan Hassan al-Bolkiah witnessed the exchange of a memorandum of understanding on cooperation in the health sector. Sultan Hassan al-Bolkiah is in Malaysia for a 3-day state visit at the invitation of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Ibrahim. In another development, Malaysia and Brunei reaffirmed their commitment to strengthening economic cooperation with a focus on Sabah and Sarawak as drivers of shared prosperity. This partnership will encompass the energy, connectivity, agriculture, tourism and halal industries. Both leaders agreed that deeper collaboration would enable the two countries to better harness Borneo's shared resources. They also acknowledged ongoing discussions between Brunei and the Sarawak government on cross-border energy cooperation. Among the initiatives highlighted was the proposed power interconnection project linking Lumut in Kuala Belait, Brunei, with Tudan in Sarawak, which would pave the way for bilateral electricity trade within ASEAN. Selangor police are now reviewing CCTV footage in connection with the case involving a 15-year-old student who fell from his school dormitory in Sabak, Bernam. State Police Chief Dato' Shazeli Kaha said statements have been recorded from several parties, including the victim's mother and school staff, to aid in the investigation. According to Shazeli, initial findings indicate that the incident did not involve any elements of bullying. No arrests have been made so far. However, the investigation is ongoing with no timeline set. The case is currently being investigated under Section 31, Subsection 1 of the Child Act. The probe covers various angles, including student safety, dormitory management, and the social background of the victim and his friends. In the 2 a.m. incident on Tuesday, Ahmad Irfan Ahmad Hanafi sustained serious injuries after falling from the 3rd floor of his school dormitory. He is currently being treated at the Sungai Buloh Hospital and remains under close medical supervision. Special briefing sessions will soon be introduced at all state education offices to help school administrators better understand anti-bullying laws. According to Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Law and Institutional Reform, Datuk Sri Azalina Othman, said all principals, headmasters, counsellors and teachers will be required to attend the sessions from next week. Azalina stated the program will be conducted by the Legal Affairs Division of the Prime Minister's Department in collaboration with the Education Ministry with support from the National Legal Academy.
Dan kita nak pergi di setiap negeri dengan pendidikan, pejabat pendidikan negeri, adakan program dengan pengetua, guru kaunseling tentang kepahaman undang-undang yang ada. Contohnya undang-undang buli, jenayah seksual. Jadi supaya sekolah ni yang banyak berhadapan kanak-kanak kata 8-6 jam sehari tu, dia memahami ada undang-undang. Jadi dia peka.
Speaking at an event in Putrajaya on Wednesday, Azalina added that the move would also help schools respond appropriately to issues involving students, including mandatory reporting obligations in cases such as child sexual abuse. She said this approach mirrors earlier efforts to combat sexual harassment, where, thanks to specific legislation, public awareness and understanding of the crime and its penalties have significantly improved. Previously, Azalina said the government was considering enacting an anti-bullying act, including setting up a tribunal to handle bullying cases more effectively, particularly those involving minors.
demi mempertahan prinsip, keberanian politik dan kesatuan serantau, memperkukuh ekosistem serantau yang inklusif, kemerdekaan dan kedaulatan. Bolehkah ASEAN pertahan hak negara kecil? Kupasannya dalam Soal Rakyat bersama tetamu Profesor Madya Dr. Muhammad Mahadi Ismail dan Profesor Dr. Muhammad Mizan Aslam. Sabtu 30 Ogos 5.30 petang hanya di TV3.
Segamat residents in Johor were rattled by another minor earthquake on Wednesday morning. The 3.2 magnitude tremor occurred at around 8:59 a.m. and is the third to strike the district in less than a week. In a social media post, the Malaysian Meteorological Department, or Met Malaysia, said the quake was detected about 18 kilometers south of Segamat and was also felt in several areas across Johor and southern Pahang. The agency confirmed that the tremor was an aftershock of Sunday's quake and originated from the Mersing fault zone. The district was previously hit by a 4.1 magnitude earthquake at 6:13 a.m. on August 24th. 3 hours later, a 2.8 magnitude tremor struck Yongpeng. The tremors caused minor damage to several buildings and infrastructure, but no casualties were reported. Following Wednesday's tremor, the Johor government immediately mobilized inspections of all critical infrastructure in the affected areas, including bridges, roads, and dams. State Public Works, Transport, Infrastructure and Communications Committee Chairman Muhammad Fazli Muhammad Saleh said the inspections will be done in collaboration with the Irrigation and Drainage Department and the State Water Regulatory Authority to ensure that all facilities are safe.
Setakat ini jambatan ataupun empangan tiada kerosakan pada struktur yang kita kesan. Cuma kita dapat laporan beberapa bangunan yang mengalami keretakan tapi tidak melibatkan struktur. Dan ini masih selamat digunakan.
He added that the National Oil and Gas Company Petronas has also been ordered to submit a report on the condition of its assets and facilities in the affected areas. The public has been advised to remain cautious, avoid high-rise areas or buildings for the time being, and to stay alert for any directives from the authorities. Meanwhile, Dr. Lim Chun Sian, head of the Geological Disaster Program at University Kebangsaan Malaysia, explained that aftershocks are likely to occur following an earthquake, but at a lower magnitude.
So when an earthquake happens, normally it don't release all this strain that's stored inside the rocks. So you expect the first one, then the second one, and slowly when the energy being released dissipate, then it will die off and back to the new equilibriums of the rocks.
He added that it can take several years for the aftershocks and effects of an earthquake to fully subside.
Normally, if you do a lot of research on that area, then you can give a good estimate. Maybe just sometimes it's not estimate, it's just guesstimate, because you cannot predict earthquake, but from there, sometimes you can know the strain in the rocks.
Malaysia remains in an overall competitive position despite the new tariff rates imposed by the United States. According to the Investment, Trade and Industry Ministry, or MITI, the government's decision to pursue prudent negotiations instead of retaliatory measures has led to a pragmatic and balanced outcome. The ministry said the impact of the tariff is expected to be minimal after Washington reduced the rate for Malaysia from 25% to 19% on July 31st. The imposition of the tariffs, however, is projected to directly affect demand for Malaysian products in the US market, as higher import costs are likely to drive up consumer prices. Importers may also pressure Malaysian exporters to absorb the retaliatory tariffs. Media Prima Berhad remains resilient despite challenges in a highly competitive industry landscape. The country's largest integrated media group posted a net profit of over 20 million ringgit for the financial year, which ended on June 30th, 2025. The higher profit was underpinned by increased revenue, which rose to 857 million ringgit compared with the previous financial year, driven by a 21% growth in non-advertising income. This growth demonstrates how the group's broadcasting, print and digital media, as well as out-of-home advertising and Omnia business segments continue to withstand economic uncertainties and adapt to the evolving media landscape. Group Chairman Dr. Sri Dr. Syed Hussein Al-Junid said the positive results recorded in key segments underscore the strength of the company's diversified business and the effectiveness of its strategies in delivering sustainable results. Meanwhile, Group Managing Director Dr. Rafiq Razali said the company's growth in various segments reflects the effectiveness of its strategy to diversify earnings and optimize its integrated media assets. Entering the next financial year, Media Prima will build on this momentum by enhancing content, expanding revenue opportunities, and optimizing efficiencies to deliver sustainable value across its businesses. Domestic argument turns violent. This and more from the local front after this breather.
Lisa! Korang nampak tak Lisa? Lisa kena baling telur dengan orang.
Kena baling telur? Cipta orang Sarawak. Macam-macam aktiviti best menunggu kita di studio tonton Drama Sangat. Ada gaya macam ratu. Pertandingan ratu etnik Drama Sangat dah tunggu. Untuk adik-adik, tunjukkan bakat Nurana Ejen Ali sambil bergambar dengan maskot Ejen Ali. Yang hati kental, boleh cuba masuk trail rumah hantu. Dan mestilah personaliti Media Prima dan artis Drama Sangat pun ada. Selfie banyak-banyak, okey? Jumpa kita semua di Karnival Jom Heboh Sarawak, dataran perayaan Petra Jaya Kuching 5 hingga 7 September ini. Jom, jom, jom!
Thanks for staying with us. In Pulau Pinang, a domestic argument turned violent early Wednesday morning when a husband attacked his wife with a knife before turning the weapon on himself. Southwest District Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Sazali Adam said the 30-year-old man, a teacher, is in critical condition, while his wife, also a teacher, is reported to be stable. Police were alerted to the incident at around 6 a.m. when the victim's mother was startled by screams from an upstairs bedroom. Upon rushing upstairs, she saw the suspect pinning her 28-year-old daughter to the bed and attempting to slit her throat. The suspect then proceeded to slash his own hands and neck with the blade. Both were sent to the Pulau Pinang Hospital for treatment. Authorities said the motive is still unknown. The case is being investigated under the Penal Code for attempted murder. Two individuals have been remanded for 5 days until this Sunday by the Malaysian Anti-Corruption Commission for allegedly making false claims worth more than 2 million ringgit. The suspects are a former CEO of a foundation owned by a banking institution and the chairman of a non-governmental organization. The remand order for the two suspects was issued by the Putrajaya Magistrates Court on Wednesday According to sources, the duo in their 30s and 50s were arrested at the MACC headquarters in Putrajaya on Tuesday after giving their statements. They are believed to have colluded to submit documents with false details for claims involving an aid program under an education fund, but the program was never carried out. The case is being investigated under Section 18 of the MACC Act. In Selangor, 3 individuals, including a couple believed to be drug traffickers, were arrested in 2 separate raids in Kajang and Petaling Jaya last week. Police also seized nearly 26 kilograms of various drugs worth over 757,000 ringgit. Kajang Police Chief Assistant Commissioner Nazron Abdul Yusuf said the first raid was carried out at a house in the district at 5 p.m. on August 21st, where a 34-year-old unemployed woman and a 32-year-old self-employed man were detained. The raid then led to the arrest of a third suspect, a 34-year-old man, while he was in a car at 9 p.m. the same day. Police then raided another house in Petaling Jaya, believed to be used for storing drugs.
Saringan awal air kencing mendapati kesemua suspek positif THC. Manakala semakan rekod jenayah menunjukkan ketiga-tiga suspek tiada rekod jenayah.
Investigations revealed that the couple were believed to be runners, while the third suspect acted as the main distributor of the drugs. Both male suspects have been charged at the Kajang court for drug trafficking, while the female suspect was released and will serve as a prosecution witness. Thai woman jailed for 43 years for lèse majesty free. The details when Nightline returns.
Sofia suka betul Dr. Arfan. Rawat opa.
Kita orang Sarawak, macam-macam aktiviti best minggu kita di studio tonton drama sangat. Ada gaya macam ratu, pertandingan ratu etnik drama sangat dah tunggu. Untuk adik-adik, tunjukkan bakat nurana Ejen Ali sambil bergambar dengan maskot Ejen Ali. Yang hati kental, boleh cuba masuk thrill rumah hantu. Dan mestilah personaliti media prima dan artis drama sangat berada. Selfie banyak-banyak, okey? Jumpa kita semua di Karnival Jom Heboh Sarawak, dataran perayaan Petra Jaya Kuching 5 hingga 7 September ini. Jom, jom, jom!
Kalau tak jumpa ghostnet tu sangat menakutkan sebenarnya.
Ada risiko dia sebab skala besar.
Memang akan ada punya ikan yang mati, penyu yang mati. Tak semua kita dapat selamatkan.
Pendekatan dalam Didik TV ini saya lebih gemar penonton melihat kepada keadaan sebenar. Apa ni murid-murid?
Didik TV ini telah banyak membantu saya, terutamanya apabila di fasa-fasa akhir ingin menuju ke peperiksaan SPM.
Seandainya sunnah itu hidup, pasti dunia ini tenang. Waktu subuh, tak lagi sepi, salam bukan sekadar formality. Masjid bukan hanya bangunan, tapi pusat cinta ilahi. Kita tinggalkan cakna, tapi didiamkan. Kata cinta Rasul, tapi sunnahnya kita simpan dalam buku. Setiap Jumaat dan Sabtu di TV3. Tanyalah Ustaz dari Muslim, sahabat rohani, penerang hati.
The foreign front. U.S. President Donald Trump will chair a large meeting at the White House on Wednesday to discuss a post-war plan for Gaza. U.S. Special Envoy Steve Witkoff confirmed that the meeting would focus on finalizing a comprehensive strategy, though he provided no further details. He added that the conflict must be resolved by one means or another before the end of the year. The announcement comes as U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio is set to host his Israeli counterpart Gideon Sa'ar in Washington for talks expected to focus on Gaza. Earlier, Zionist forces killed at least 32 Palestinians, including 8 people who were waiting for aid. One of the attacks involved Israeli shelling west of Khan Yunis in southern Gaza, which killed one person and wounded 5 others. In the northern occupied West Bank, at least 80 people were injured during an Israeli military raid on the Palestinian city of Nablus. At least 32 people have been killed after heavy rains triggered a massive landslide in Indian-administered Kashmir. Officials on Wednesday reported that search and rescue operations were underway in response to the landslide, which occurred the previous afternoon near the Vaishno Devi shrine in the Katra area. At least 20 others were injured in the landslip. Heavy rains have also caused severe damage to infrastructure in the region, sweeping away bridges and roads and flooding homes. Meanwhile, with more rain forecast, authorities work to restore telecommunications, which were almost non-existent during the deluge. The landslide is the latest disaster, leaving hundreds dead and missing in India and Pakistan. A Thai woman who received one of the kingdom's longest ever royal insult sentences was freed from prison on Wednesday under a mass pardon marking the king's birthday. After about 8 years in prison, 69-year-old Anchan Prilert was freed, along with 84 others granted clemency from Bangkok's Central Women's Correctional Institution. Anchan was jailed for 43 years in 2021 after sharing online audio clips on YouTube of an underground podcast host known as DJ Banapoj, a fierce critic of the monarchy. She was initially sentenced to 87 years, 3 for each of the 29 lèse majesty counts, but the court halved it due to her confession. Thailand's lèse majesty law shields the king and his family from any criticism, with each offence punishable by up to 15 years in jail. On to sports now. Datuk Yusof Mahadi has been named acting president of the Football Association of Malaysia following the resignation of Datuk Johari Ayub. The appointment was confirmed at Wednesday's executive committee meeting at Wisma FAM in Kelana Jaya. FAM said Johari had tendered his resignation as president, which the committee accepted out of respect for his wishes. The committee also recorded its gratitude to Johari for his service and contributions since he was elected as vice president in 2017 and later as president on February 15 this year. Under Article 42, Paragraph 7 of the FAM statutes, the longest-serving deputy president will assume the role until the next Congress, scheduled for next year, when a new president will be elected to serve the remainder of the term. Still on football, the Super League, 2 matches were played on Wednesday night. Kuala Lumpur City FC kept up their strong form with a 3-1 win over PDRM FC. At the MBPJ Stadium, Selangor produced a stunning response to their defeat last week, hammering Terengganu FC 5-2. Pre-goal, Moraes opened the floodgates with a header in the 17th minute before Alvin Fortes doubled the lead 8 minutes later. A costly error from Terengganu goalkeeper Suhaimi Hussein handed Moraes his second, and the Brazilian completed his hat-trick in the first half injury time. Terengganu fought back after the break as Gabriel Silva Costa scored from the spot after a VAR review, and junior Stephen Ngong added a second late on. But substitute Muhammad Alif Izwan Yuslan put the result beyond doubt, with Selangor's 5th in stoppage time. The Red Giants lead to 4th place on 6 points, while Terengganu slipped to 3rd with 7. Moving on to badminton, Malaysia's men's singles campaign at the 2025 World Championships has ended following Leong Junhao's exit in Paris on Wednesday. Making his debut, Junhao fell agonizingly short after an 88-minute thriller, losing 21-17, 13-21, 23-25 to Japan's Kento Nishimoto at the Adidas Arena. It was a valiant effort from the 26-year-old who had beaten Nishimoto at the China Open last month and came into Paris holding a 3-2 career head-to-head edge. In the women's doubles, Goh Pei Ki and Hyo Mei Sing also bowed out after an 11-21, 9-21 defeat to Bulgaria's Stoeva sisters Gabriela and Stefani. Earlier, men's doubles pair, Man Wei Chong and Tiu Kai Woon survived a nail-biting decider to beat France's Popov brothers Christo and Toma Jr. 21-15, 18-21, 21-19 in a 65-minute clash. The world number 7 duo will face England's Sean Vendy and Ben Lane next for a quarter-final spot. And that concludes Nightline this time around. Before we leave, let's take a look at SpaceX's Starship, which achieved all its key goals on its 10th test flight, lifting off from Texas and splashing down successfully in the Indian Ocean. With that, I'm Zahir, Kelvin Abdullah. Thank you for watching and stay safe.